Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel, and we're gonna have some fighting words. So in this video, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna take it to UFC 271 in the rematch against Israel Adesanya and Robert Whitaker. So I'm just gonna do a quick fight prediction on who I believe is gonna win based on a little list of character traits that both will possess. However, one will be the victor over the other in this categories. So let's just get started. First, I want to talk about experience. Experience now, in MMA, Robert Whitaker has more experience than Israel Adesanya since he has more fights. However, I'm giving this to Izzy. Why? Because he has like 100 kickboxing matches. That's why. So yes, Robert Whitaker has more MMA fights, and it's not like a crazy amount. I think it's like 9 or 10, but still, he has more experience in the octagon. However, when you look at Israel Adesanya, this dude's got like 100 kickboxing matches. He's got like, I think 6 or 8 boxing matches. So when we compare the two, there really is no comparison when we look at who's got more experience in a combat setting. That's all Israel Adesanya knows is combat. That's literally what his past has been flooded with. That literally is his journey, his walk. So therefore, I got to give it to him. Power. This one's really iffy, and I'll tell you why. Because Israel Adesanya, although he comes from a kickboxing background and he does have a lot of knockouts, he's not necessarily a power puncher. Izzy will break you down, or just Izzy breaks people down. That's what he does. But he's also a very slick fighter. So what he will do a lot of times is catch people coming in, or they'll be off balance, or whatever the case may be. He sets traps and they get caught in a trap. So it's not as if, he just throws a jab and they fall over or something like that. It's not that, or he just openly throws a right head kick and they fall over. No, he sets them up for those things. And he's very successful at it, which is the reason why they call him the Stylebender. The next would be creativity. Now, I just said they call him the Stylebender. This dude is very creative. You don't really know what you're going to get from him, and every opponent sees a different version of Israel Adesanya. And that's what you need if you want to be successful, if you want to be a champ. You can't always show the same thing, and that's why I'm worried for Robert Whitaker, because he tends to show the same thing. He has this bull rush that he does, and he'll throw a flurry of, maybe 3 punches, and then he'll end off with a kick. The only real difference when it comes to Robert Whitaker is it going to be a high kick or is it going to be a low kick? Honestly, we already know what you're going to do. You're going to blitz and you're going to finish with a kick. Now, sometimes what he'll do, which I don't think is necessarily risky in this fight, is he'll blitz and go for a takedown. Now, it's not necessarily risky in this fight because we all know Izzy doesn't want to have a wrestling match. He most certainly doesn't want to have a jiu-jitsu match. I don't think he's that bad on the ground or anything like that. But it's clear where his bread and butter is. I just said he had like 100 kickboxing matches and like 6 or 8 professional boxing matches. So it's clear where his bread and butter is. It's on his feet. It's using his hands and his feet and his knees and his elbows, like he once told Anderson Silva. So that's where it is. The dude's creative. He is so creative. I once seen him just grab a man's hand, and for some reason, the guy just allowed him to hold on to his wrist. And when he tried to yank away, Izzy just threw his elbow in and cut him in the head. So it's just like things like that. He's creative. And when I mean creative, I mean he's completely and 100% in his flow state. He is aware of his surroundings. He is aware of what's going on. It's almost like a Roy Jones in the 90s. He is truly aware. When Roy Jones could darn near do anything, he's truly aware. Or you look at a John Jones. Now, I'm talking about a bit younger John Jones. Nowadays, John Jones tends to play a little bit safer. Well, nowadays, he hasn't fought in like 2-3 years. But in his last fights, most recent fights, he played it a lot safer. However, when he was younger, I don't want to say he was reckless, but he was truly in the moment. Anderson Silva was truly in the moment. If you fight like Dominic Cruz, you have to be in the moment, because it's all about his footwork. And Israel Adesanya, It's about head movement. It's about footwork. It's about a jab. It's about a variation of kicks. So you don't know which one you're going to get of those. And although he's very tall, he does like to go to the body a lot. And he'll go to the body with jabs as well. So you don't know what you're going to get. You just know that he has a full arsenal and he's ready to unleash it all on you. Now, heart. Okay, this was a little hard for me, and I'll explain why. So I got Ty for heart. Now you're going to be like, well, why do you have Ty? Well, Robert Whitaker fought Yoel Romero twice. That takes heart, okay? And those guys were bruised, battered, and scarred after that. And I'm pretty sure they took, some maybe years off each other's life with those two fights. So it took heart. And I got to tell you, not a lot of people want to step in the octagon with Yoel Romero. And we're talking that was some years back. So whatever we think or how we perceive him as scary today, now let's go back on a time machine. He was even more scary back then. And then on the flip side, you have Israel Adesanya when, he fought Kevin Gastelum. And, if, again, the world famous clip where he said, I'm prepared to die. I'm okay with this. I've made my lot. And this is how I would prefer to go, like a warrior, like a gladiator. So when it comes to heart, I'm sorry, they both got to get that, so it's a tie. Speed. I'm going to kind of give it to Robert Whitaker because Israel doesn't, although his style and his way of combat relies on speed, it's more timing than speed. He just kind of measures people out. And he's great at distance. So I'm going to give it to Robert Whitaker because his style is completely based on speed because he's a blitz fighter. He's going to go in and then he's going to shuffle back out. And he's going to go in and he's going to come back out. So because of that, I'm just going to give him the speed. Now, I don't know if he's actually faster, but I'm just going to say based on the way he fights, I'm going to give him speed. Now, what's next? We have versatility. Israel Adesanya, absolutely. You really just don't know what you're going to get. You can get somebody who... I believe Kevin Gastelum never thought in a million years Israel Adesanya was going to give him a dog fight in a dog yard. And then you'll see him again and he'll just play it cool, he'll play it safe, and he'll stay on the outside and he'll just pick you off with shots. Again, he's versatile. He can do those things. He can do those things because he has that much skill. So, again, I'm going to have to give it to Izzy. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Izzy is killing this, and it's true. And before I go any further, if you like what you're hearing, please like, please share, and also please subscribe to my channel. So, let me get back to this. Wrestling. Izzy gets a lot of flack, but honestly, Israel hardly ever goes to the ground. But when he does, he pops right back up. I've never seen anybody literally just hold Izzy on the ground. So, and Robert Whitaker, I believe he's much better on the ground than Israel Adesanya. However, I believe the way he fights, and I just know he wants to win this. And it's more than the belt. It's personal. Why? Because it's their second fight, and he lost the first fight. And, where he lost it, close to home, pretty much home, not close to home. He was home, and he lost it. And, you feel embarrassment. You feel like, I got to do this for my people back home. For my family, my friends who all came to support me, and I let them down on that night. Also for his own self, because, you have to go to bed with yourself, and you have to sleep. And those thoughts have to play over and over and over again in your mind. And listen, it can be hard to sleep. I've had fights where I thought about them for years. And I'm like, man, I wish I could just run into this person again. I wish we could spar again or something like that. And now, mind you, I'm nowhere near neither one of these guys or, on the level of neither one of these guys. So if I'm just having that about sparring wars, you can imagine what Robert Whitaker was mentally and just emotionally going through with the first fight with Israel Adesanya. So I just feel like, yeah, he is the better wrestler, but would he try to use it? Would he try to implement it? I think if he were smart, and I do believe he's a smart man, and his team are a smart group of coaches, I hope that they would think of employing a strong wrestling attack. I hope so. Or will pride take the better of Robert Whitaker and he's like, you know what? This is how we fought last time and he beat me. Let's fight this way again and let's see if he does it again. Who knows? So that leads me into why I think Robert Whitaker is going to lose. He's a very emotional fighter. He's always pounding on his chest, and if you need anger to get you going, I don't know how anger really helps. It didn't help you the first time. And Israel Adesanya said the first time you're acting out of character. That's not who you are. You're doing something that's not conducive to what you really are or who you really are. And as a result, it's going to work against you. And it did. And Robert Whitaker later said in an interview for this up-and-coming bout, he said, yeah, it was kind of playing with me, and he was kind of right. Okay, so you can't rely on your emotions, but we are who we are. We are who we are. Some people, they need emotions to fight. You look at a guy like Roberto Duran. The dude needed to be angry. You look at, not Tommy Hearns. I don't know why I keep thinking about Tommy Hearns, but not Tommy Hearns. There are just guys out there who, they need that. They need anger. They need an emotion. Other than just the fact that, I would be the winner. I would be victorious. I would get the belt. I would get all the things that come with the belt. I would get the money. I would get the accolades. I would get the fans. I would get the check. I'll get the flashing lights. I'll get all this stuff. But no, some people need anger. Some people need for people to cheer for him. I believe that's what it is with Conor McGregor. I think he needs the crowd. I think he needs the mob. Can he do it if people were to boo him? Could he do it if there were nobody to come from Ireland to support him? I don't know. And I think that's the case with Robert Whitaker. I think we're just going to have to wait and see how he is mentally. And yeah, I get it. He's been doing the press conferences and he's smiling and joking, but that's who he is. Robert Whitaker is a very nice and likable guy. And yeah, you're just doing press conferences. It's not like you're going to fight these reporters. No harm, no foul. However, once you walk to that octagon, your emotions start to flood in. You remember the last time you were here with this particular individual, and you remember what this person did to you. You remember what this person did to you on this big stage. Yes, emotions come in. So I don't know. I just know he needs to check his emotions because it worked against him last time. And because of all these things, like I said, you got experience, you got creativity, you have history, because I want to beat that guy who beat me. It's not that personal to Izzy. He doesn't like him, and he said it, a few times. But it's not that personal because he won. It's more personal to Robert because he lost. So, based on these things, I got to give it to Izzy. I believe this is going to be no different than the first fight. I don't see this going to the judges as well. I feel like Robert will just run into something like he did the first time. But I also believe that Robert's going to be set up. And I think listening to Izzy speak, I feel like he feels that first fight could have been a lot cleaner of a finish, a lot cleaner of a beating, but also a lot more menacing of a beating. So I do see this fight going longer, but I see Israel Adesanya putting on an absolute clinic and a show for you and myself. But those are my thoughts. I want to know what you have to say. Drop your comments down below. And as always, please like, please share, and please subscribe to my